Now, the Nigerian government has launched a high-level effort to bring former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu back to the country from a UK prison. Senator Ekweremadu is serving a 9-year sentence in a UK prison for organ harvesting. He was convicted after a plot to bring a 21-year-old Lagos street vendor to Britain for a kidney transplant for his daughter, Sonia. A delegation led by the Foreign Affairs Minister and the Attorney General is currently in London meeting with British justice officials. The goal is to negotiate a prisoner transfer agreement. This would allow Ekweremadu to serve the remainder of his 9-year sentence for organ harvesting in Nigeria. The move is reportedly part of President Tinubu's initiative to secure relief for the veteran politician on humanitarian and legal grounds. Well, for analysis on the moves by the federal government to get the UK to transfer former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu to Nigeria and the need for transparency in the process in the interest of justice, Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale.
Good afternoon,
Many thanks
Mr.
for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here as usual.
Now, what do you make of this this whole situation, seeking to bring Ekweremadu back to Nigeria to continue his sentence?
Well, it's supposed to be a humanitarian gesture, but it is going to be a costly humanitarian one in terms of public opinion. Remember the other time we were considering the list of those giving pardon.
Yes.
And I was dwelling on mercy, but you saw the public outcry that followed it, and the government had to recant and make a U-turn and some adjustment. I'm sure we'll get to that somewhere along the line on these two. Because the former distinguished senator was convicted in the US for a grievous offense, organ harvesting. To me, organ harvesting and homicide are almost the same thing. And if somebody has crossed the path of the law and has been tried and jailed in a place like Britain, I don't see them making a U-turn. I don't see them making a U-turn. And I'm even more surprised that the government sent such a high-powered delegation, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Attorney General, Minister of Justice. In a way, the public will see it as the political class fighting for its own, to be allowed to escape the wrath of the law in a place like Britain. And if you look at our legal history with Britain, and look at the reputation of a British judicial system, you will see that this government is literally backing at the moon. Because they will tell them that our own judiciary is independent. And even they have been very magnanimous and kind to the Nigerian case. You remember the case of industrial process and development, in which, some people use false papers and obtain judgment against Nigeria. Yes. It was in Britain that a judge ruled against it and even blamed us for not litigating our case diligently enough. That case, just this October, it reached the Supreme Court on the costs. That mysterious company wanted, because he won the case, he wanted the payment to be made in Naira. But it got to the Court of Appeal up to Supreme Court. They said, no, they must pay us in dollars, because that was the invoice with which we paid our own lawyers. So if the British judicial system, which is noted for pursuing justice to the letter, can be favorable for us and help us out of our trouble, are we not overstepping our bound in asking them to release a convicted person? Well, I'm sure they're about to see that diplomacy and politics may not mix in this particular instance. And they will see that the British obey their rule of law and they keep to the letter of the law. Sooner than later, they will realize that.
All right, Mr. Sobowale, what sort of precedent do you think this sets moving forward? We just saw the pardons that we saw President Bola Ahmed Tinubu give out, and of course him almost taking a step back on the initial list and putting out a second list, you know, adjusting people like Miriam Sanders' sentence, you know, reducing it to 12 years as opposed to a sentence to death, where initially she had received a full pardon. Now we are seeing this situation with Ekweremadu as well. So what precedent do you think this sort of antecedents are setting for our legal system moving forward, considering the separation of powers have been mixing up a little too much lately?
This is extrajudicial now, and it's extrajudicial, extra-legal, because somebody has been jailed, and they are not asking for him to be released. They're asking for him to come and spend the rest of his conviction in Nigeria. How that could be possible, I don't know. Because I remember, if you remember the case of Charles, the former president of Liberia, who was jailed, sentenced to 50 years, even before, because of the trouble he caused in Liberia. Before he was sentenced, the British had arranged, because they fought him in Sierra Leone, that arranged that if he's sentenced, they will make sure he serves the sentence in Britain, but not in Liberia, or any, because they know he could be released. And when he was sentenced, they made law in their parliament to create a particular place for him to serve his sentence out. So if you have people with that sort of mind, in making sure that justice runs its course, you know how they will react to us. Now, with regard to what Chika said about the pardons, yes, the government, I would say, was responsive. It reacted and retraced its steps on it. So I'm sure, you know, Nigerians will talk, especially the opposition, the human rights people. They will react, and I want to see how the government reacts again. But it is, this one to me is unprecedented. And like I said, it's a class issue. You get me? It means the government cares more about its own political class people than ordinary Nigerians. Because I'm sure if it was an ordinary Nigerian, he would be sentenced, he would be enjoying his sentence in jail now without taking of any rescue from any quarters. So let the government face the consequences of the public reading of his actions, and then let's see how it reacts.
Okay, so Sobowale, as we round up, you said this is a class issue, which makes a lot of sense, of course. And we already know that when it comes to Nigeria, we have a reputation of anything goes, more or less, in our country. So I imagine being in the British system and receiving this appeal, and I don't think I would even buy what's being told, because if he's going to serve his sentence, does it matter where?
Yeah, it does.
Does it necessarily matter where? So what, like Kachi mentioned, what precedent does this set to show that in some cases the government is going to push for its own agenda and not necessarily take note of what the public is clamoring for in terms of what they wanted to, what should be on top priority for the government?
Look, that's what I just said. It's a class issue. That's favoritism. You get me? If you want to interpret it, you can say there are a set of laws for those in power and a set of laws for the rest of us, which is unjust. Okay. It's apparently unjust. And you see, at least you know, you have learned now to respect for public opinion. Yes. You saw what happened in the pardon case. They made a U-turn. I'm sure the public will react to this too. And then they will have to amend their part or leave Britain alone with its law and not embarrass some of us. Although, you see, the electorate can be funny at times. See, some people might point out that Trump was a foil. He won the election in the U.S. in spite of his crime. But then, you see, it's favoritism. It does not show that we are all equal before the law, literally. That is how I put it. But then, it's a class issue. It's a class issue. They are trying to fight for one of their own. And Nigerians will say that they should do that for the common Nigeria more than they do for their own. It's a matter of equity. He who comes to equity must come.
Clean hands.
I would love to ask you why this is a priority at this time, but I know that we're out of time.
It's classism.
Yeah?
Yes. Dog does not eat dog.
True. True. All right, Mr. Sobowale, many thanks for joining us here on Newsday. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.